right, guys, we are back live with the U.S. Championships Bracket Show. Chris Puckett joined by Goldenboy, Methodz, and Gandhi. So far, we've all agreed on almost everything. We've had a few little discussions, whether it'll be Denial East or Vex moving into round 2. And the only real discussion point so far has been some differing between Optic Gaming or Envious securing their spot in the winners in the World Championship after winning winners round 2. It's been split 50-50. Both teams will end up in the losers bracket, as we'll talk about that next. And remember, we're still giving 4 spots away in the losers bracket. You have to win your losers 2, but it's going to be fierce competition starting all the way in losers 1. I've gone ahead and pulled up my bracket here in the Excel sheet, and the first match we're going to talk about here, guys, is Final Boss versus Strictly Business on the far right. I got Strictly Business over FB just based on the fact that I've seen Strictly Business in the CoD League. They've been playing non-stop. Who do you guys have coming out of this match?
I'm going to go strictly because of the fandom, okay? Just because I'm a fan. I went with Final Boss.
You went with FB?
Yeah, I'm going FB, man. It's just, I got to throw them a bone, you know what I mean? And it was just kind of one of those things. And don't take it, I don't want to take it like the wrong way where it's like, you know, it's a pity pick, because it's not. I think that this team is legitimately skilled and it has all the capability to you know, win this matchup. I know Strictly Business is very good. I know Sensor's going to be really disappointed that I didn't go with him, but you know, just right sometimes, right? You got to go with the inner Halo fan, and I went with Final Boss.
All right, so you got FB. Let's go to, actually, I want to see, is Goldenboy serious here? Let's look at his bracket. He went Final Boss. All right, got it in yellow.
I commit, dude. I commit.
Gandhi, we're going to you next. Who do you got? I got your bracket up. You better not lie.
Yeah, so this one was, when I saw this matchup happen, I was like, my heart just like dropped. I was like, man, that sucks, Final Boss. That really sucks for you.
Do you know what else sucks?
I think
Method's keyboard.
Final Boss, for me, it's hard to give them any kind of a bone when they don't stream, they keep everyone in the dark. I mean, for all we know, they could come out and be dominant. I have no idea. But I have to go with what I've seen, and Strictly Business is definitely a top 8 team going into CoD Champs. And I think basically saying anything less than that would be doing a disservice. Goldenboy. You not remember Billy Goldenboy?
I forgot you were in Carbon. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I was Carbon. What's up? Sorry, anyways, but I think Strictly Business will probably take this one. I think it will do better. I think Final Boss, it's not like Final Boss is going to get 3-0 3-0. I think Final Boss will take them to the distance, but I think that search, they're out.
Really? Okay, so Final Boss doesn't get by, but they go to game 5? Yeah. Methodz, let's keep this fast, guys, as we're down to our last half hour before the CoD League kicks off. Methodz, you got SB as well, but move on to our next match. You have Denial West. That's Elevate going up against TVA. Xfinity now. And right now you have Xfinity coming out of that one to face Justice. Why Xfinity in that battle?
Xfinity, you have players like Doubt and Mud Dog, and Mud Dog's one of those players that is a student of the game. He'll go into private matches, he'll find nade spots, he'll find S&B routes, he'll just find spawns. Like, the man is constantly on in private matches, finding out new stuff. I mean, I remember back in Black Ops 2, he knew stuff at the end of the game that even us pros didn't know. So the man is very knowledgeable. I definitely see that, you know, helping out in their match versus Denial West.
And I'm looking through, it looks like actually all of us have selected Xfinity except for me. I went Denial West here. I think the Elevate boys, they're young, they're hungry, they have nothing to lose in this tournament. I think they're going to get to round 2, but I have them getting knocked out by Justice, as all 4 of us did. Let's move to the bottom half of the bracket. Rise and Curse New York. Living the Dream has little to none fans on Twitter. I never see any kind of tweeting support except for, wow, Wheats just went off. Do you guys have Curse New York moving on here like I do, or do you have Rise, formerly known as Living the Dream, advancing in that losers round 1?
Curse New York, all the way on that one. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I think Curse New York is one hell of a team. I think they're just going to lose a little bit of a hard match versus Justice, and I think they come back in the losers bracket.
So let's go to Goldenboy and Methodz. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, definitely Curse NY prevailing against Rise.
I definitely have Curse NY winning, but it's going to be a hard-fought battle. This one was tough. It could go either way. I believe in Rise. Pac-Man, former national champion. Weed's a fantastic player. and I think they have potential, but yeah, got to go with Curse.
All right, final one here. We have some mixed predictions, whether it's going to be Vex versus Adversity or Denial East versus Adversity. I have Adversity moving on, going over Denial East. Regardless, I think Adversity would win that even if Vex was in that position. Scott, you got Adversity. Goldenboy, you had Adversity. And it looks like Methodz, we're all going Adversity, which would set up an Adversity versus FaZe matchup here if FaZe loses to Complexity in round 2. A spot in the World Championships on the line here for Adversity. Can they take it against FaZe? Methodz, you're saying no.
No, I mean, I've been a part of FaZe twice now, and replays is too good of a leader to let them lose and fall short behind top 8. Sander's a really good player. He's really vocal, really good leader as well. But Replays has that experience. He has players like JCap and Proofy to his side, both slaying monsters. Nick, his real-life friend, who's an absolute tank. I mean, he's definitely, as of now, the best player that has come up out of nowhere. So I definitely see FaZe as coming up against Adversity. I'm going to say 3-1 for FaZe.
3-1 for FaZe. Goldenboy, you're next. Who do you got, Adversity or FaZe here?
All these matches in losers round 2 are going to be so heartbreaking because I feel like I wish everyone can go, but I got to go with FaZe. I just can't see them giving up on this one. I love Adversity, great team, but I will say this much. If there is a team to make an upset in losers round 2, it would be Adversity, but for the safe bet would be FaZe.
Okay, so you got Adversity falling here. Our next one, let's go to you, Gandhi. You got Adversity falling to FaZe as well. 3-2, 3-1, 3-0 for FaZe.
I think it's going to be a 3-1. I think Adversity may take the blitz, but overall, I have a lot of faith in FaZe going into this event. I think even though they're going to lose round 2, I still have them finishing in my top 4. I think we always hear about it from players where it's like, oh my God, this ridiculous losers bracket run like TK at Philly. You hear about these teams who get knocked out round 2 and they just make it all the way through. And when you gain that momentum, it just keeps snowballing effect. I think they're going to run through every team they face up until they meet the loser of the winners final, or the winners finals. The loser of the winners finals. That's the sentence.
Yeah, those things. All right.
Yeah, words.
So you got FaZe going pretty darn far. We'll get your final 8 at the end here. Our next match, I'll go ahead and tell you guys, I also think FaZe is coming through here, but keep your eye on Sender. If he goes off, anything could happen. And we also saw FaZe choke the 2-0 lead versus Complexity at the UMG Philly event. So we've seen them just fall apart on a main stage. Could they do it again? I think this is a matchup that's a possibility, but I'm going to go with the veterans. Next, Optic Gaming or Envy versus Curse New York. Actually, let's save that for the end. Let's go to Denial East Strictly Business here, or Final Boss Denial East Final Boss, excuse me. Who comes out on top? Gandhi, it looks like you got Strictly Business. Pretty easy matchup for them, or they struggle here?
I think they may lose like one of the games, maybe the search, just because it's Denial East and you got Fizz and Twiz. The Is brothers, as I like to call them, just because I like groups. I think Strictly Business still comes out on top. I think Spencer's one of the main leaders and captains of a team, and he's like a true captain, something you don't really see too often in Call of Duty.
So you got Strictly Business 3-1, 3-2, 3-0.
3-1.
3-1. Methodz, let's go to your bracket. You got Vex versus Strictly Business here. Who comes out on top of this?
Strictly Business 3-1. I don't see a team with Saints, Dito, and Apathy losing any respawn. I mean, their slang power is phenomenal. You have Sensor who does the dirty work. The man can get hype. He screams at the top of his lungs. The creatine rushing through his veins. He's jacked. So, and he can get pretty crazy, pretty intimidating. So, definitely SVB to take this one.
Now, I'm actually looking at some statistics here, and Strictly Business only has a 48% win record in all games for the MLG CoD League. But they have a 62 win percent in Domination. What game mode do you start every best of 5 with? Domination. I think they get some hype there in game number 1 and carry that through. Goldenboy, I know you agree. You also have Strictly Business in your bracket. Let's move down to the next one. Methodz, Justice and an Xfinity, TVA, or Denial West. Justice easily winning this one, regardless?
What'd you say? My fault. No, I heard East, so I'm confused.
Yeah, you're gone. All right, Goldenboy, you get to answer this. You got Justice, Xfinity?
Yes, I have Justice defeating Xfinity and loses round 2. Also, just want to say something about that last point. I actually have Final Boss versus Denial East.
Sorry, my friend.
And I feel East would win that one. But here's the deal. Strictly Business will more than likely go all that. So we'll just go with what you said before, Puckett.
Okay.
But yeah, so Justice,
what was your answer
yes,
there,
I
Final
have
Boss?
them facing off against SB or East in the loser round 3.
So if you did have Final Boss winning, does Final Boss get into the World Championships with a win here? Or did you say they fall?
Oh my God, if that happened, I would go crazy, but I don't know, man. It's going to be very tough. If Final Boss actually pulled the upset over Strictly Business and then did it again, that'd be nuts.
That'd be
but
pretty crazy.
It's so far-fetched. I just don't. Denial East, talking about guys who have won MLG events too. Here's the other thing, right? You have Twiz and Fizz who won with Fear back in Black Ops 1. These are players who are not strangers to the spotlight of main stage. So I don't know. It'd be nuts though.
I would love to see Final Boss in this position to secure
who'd
a
have
spot
thunk
at
it,
$1 million tournament. You're like,
It's crazy.
I think it all comes down to, can they avoid Strike Zone? Can they stay away from MTAR only maps and Bulldogs and let Snipe Down roam with the Remington?
Hey.
The Remington is a gun that all Halo pros seem to naturally gravitate towards. I'm with you. I would love to see that match, but I think we're going to see SB. But Justice, so far we've had Methodz say Justice. Goldenboy, you got Justice. Gandhi also have Justice in this one?
Yeah, I do. I think I will note that even though in my predictions I do have Justice going very far, I think depending on what happens to Justice when they lose that round 2 matchup in the winner's bracket, we could see Xfinity squeak through on this. I mean, if Neslo gets down on himself and he can't rally the troops, I can see Justice dropping it. But for the sake of betting and being right, I'm going Justice over Xfinity.
Now, for this next matchup, can we get everyone to take a pause real quick? Pull out your cell phone. Pull out your cell phone and tell Hey Green Wall, tune in to MLG.TV right now. We're going to take a 30-second commercial break. When we come back, Goldenboy is going to tell you what happens in Optic's second round losers bracket match.